These have a wider crook, and they're usually made out of an extremely hard wood. This one's oak. This is my favorite. This one's hickory. And they also have unique features for self-defense that you don't find on your average walking cane. That's why they're a self-defense walking cane. But it's a medical device. It's a mobility device, just like any other walking cane. And you can take it anywhere you go, everywhere you go. This is a warm-up spin. This is not one of the 5 moves. This is highly recommended though, because this is going to support a lot of the self-defense moves. It's also a good way to put some callus on your hands if you're a beginner. It's a good way to get your heart rate up. You can do this standing or seated. All you're doing is you're holding the long side that comes out of the thumb, your palm is facing the sky, and you are pushing your hand in this circular motion. You add a little bit of speed, and then it goes around. Once you do this for about 30 seconds, you're gonna bring it over and back across the body. You can see that this becomes a striking motion here in just about a minute when I show you this first move. But turning back and forth, almost like you're slapping him across his face and following it with a backhand for self-defense. This is a good warm-up. When you're ready, after 30 seconds or so, you put it to the other hand, alongside out of the pinky or the thumb side. Show you what it looks like from the side. It's just a small motion, small. And then 30 seconds later, over and back. I can feel my heart rate raising. And I've done this many times seated in the chair. So you can do this whether you're standing or seated. Hey Doug, it's good to see you. Good evening, or good afternoon, I guess. But I want you to practice that. I also want you to practice for your mobility, for your strength, for stronger strikes as we go through these 5 simple self-defense moves. Putting the cane in front of you, pushing your hips back, and then just doing what we call assisted squats. It's taking some of the weight off. Hi Eleanor, it's good to see you. Some of the weight off your legs so that you can do more strengthening exercises that will improve your striking power when we get into these 5 self-defense moves. So I like to do the combat cane spinning over and back in both hands, followed by a good 30 seconds of this. If I were working out by myself or with you in a class, we might do several rounds of that, 30 seconds each. It's gonna get your heart rate up, and it's gonna build a lot of strength and power in your strikes while teaching you timing and distance, spatial awareness, proprioception, all the things you need to be better able to defend yourself with these 5 simple self-defense moves with your Cane Masters self-defense walking cane. Now, put it in your hand. You're gonna have the crook facing behind you, and you're gonna learn the very first move, which is, I call the handshake. He's coming at you. You want to extend the hand of peace. He's a criminal. He's a piece of crap. He's a bad guy. He's a thug. He's trying to hurt you, take from you your freedom, your life. He's trying to hurt your family, hurt your grandchild. You're going to put your hand up. And because you have this long piece of oak coming out of your hand, you're going to strike him right between the legs. Hi, Sherry. It's good to see you. Maybe up under the jaw. Maybe he's reaching in with a punch or a choke or a stab or a slash. You're going to smash that hand, knocking it out of the way. So he's coming in, your other hand's up, give him a verbal command, get out of here, don't touch me, get away from me, bring your cane up very quickly, just put it between you and him. From here, you're gonna turn your palm to the sky and then bring it down like a slap on the top of his head. Slowly it looks like this. There's the first strike, palm goes to the sky, hand comes to your ear, palm goes down to the ground, that's the second strike. So 1, 2. And I'd like you to practice this over and over again, just for about 30 seconds. That's about what it takes to get used to the motion, going faster, little by little. The more you do it, next week you'll be faster. 2 weeks from now, you'll be able to hit them really hard. Switch to the other side. There's the handshake. Practice that first. Hit him fast, and then bring this down over the top of his head. So the first of the 5 simple moves for self-defense using your self-defense walking cane from Cane Masters is the spin. The second way you can do the spin is just coming across and back. Kind of think of a windshield wiper. 1, 2. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but it creates a lot of power. You can also bring it up at an angle and down at an angle. Think about hitting into his knee or into his ribs or into the side of his head, or again, smashing the hand out of the way and then coming back with a second strike against his temple, against his neck. What can you remove or destroy? Those are the principles of self-defense that were written in that book by Tim Larkin called When Violence is the Answer. I put a link to that. If you haven't read that and you're interested in self-defense, if you're serious about self-defense, get that book, When Violence is the Answer. The link's in the description. So from here, the question is, what can I remove or destroy? That gives you the target that you're going to strike with these basic techniques. So handshake, top of the head, windshield wiper, angular up, angular down, or whatever you want to call them. It doesn't have to be fancy. Second simple move for self-defense, using your Cane Master self-defense walking cane. I'm going to have you turn the crook out, so now it's facing him. From here, you're going to pop it up in your hand, just like this. Your hand is up, you're giving the verbal command and a visual command, stop, don't come any closer, back up. From this position, he keeps coming in, you're going to jab this hard piece of oak. I'm going to switch to hickory because it's even harder. It's even heavier. It's going to hit him harder. So you pop it up. This one also, this Cane Master's cane here, has these little hand grips that make it much easier to hold in your hand and to keep your grip. Your hand's up here, he comes in, he's too close, you smash in with this. Yeah, Eleanor says the effectiveness of these techniques can't be underestimated. There is a lot of evidence behind basic techniques being super effective, and that's all this is, basic technique with a big stick in your hand. In this case, with a crook and a hook, and that little beveled in there that can later rip the flesh, but we'll get to that. So second simple technique, put it up. He's coming in too close. You've got a simple jab. You can jab straight. You can jab with a hooking motion. You can jab straight up under his chin. You can jab into his groin. You can jab into his solar plexus. You can jab into his throat. Just turn your hand at a little angle. Coming in there, smashing. That can be a fatal strike for self-defense, but it's your life against his. He's trying to take something from you. You're not going to give it to him. You're going to give him this instead, right in his face. From here, after this motion, the third simple technique, since it's already here, the long side is here, I want you to bring that across the side of his face. Jean-Jacques, good to see you. This long piece here, creating lots of leverage, coming out of your pinky side, and you're going to turn your wrist as you do the strike. So you're coming across the body here, and you can bring it up at that angle, you can bring it straight up, under his chin, between his legs, into that arm, across his chin, across his temple, into his neck, into his ribs, into that hand that's trying to hit you. But it's this simple motion here. So it's striking with the long side. So we're up to three basic techniques. First one is the handshake here with all the spins attached, coming down, coming up, any of the angles that you want to use. And you can see you can do that with the crook facing out or with the crook facing you. Actually, I like this one. Anytime you put the cane in this motion with the crook facing the bad guy or facing away from you, you'll feel that it becomes an extension of the arm, the way it's lined up with the pinky side and the bottom bone here in your arm, that ergonomically speaking becomes much, much stronger. Also, when you come to these basic strikes, you're going to have a lot more control of the self-defense walking cane coming out of the bottom than if it were coming out of your thumb side, because the way your wrist is made. So practice this a lot. So from here, we have these techniques. The popping up here, we'll call this the second one, the jab is second. I think I skipped one. The jab, yeah, the jab is the second. Coming in straight, coming into the side, coming into the throat. The nice thing about the jab, you can also hit him here, slide through, and then hook him into the back of his head and rip it. So you jab him, reach in, and pull, and again, you've got that nice beveled edge that's going to, it's not gonna penetrate deep like a knife. It's not metal and it's not sharp like a knife. But you can rip his nose, you can rip his eye out of his face, you can rip his teeth out of his mouth, you can rip his ear off. You can do a lot of damage for self-defense using this simple strike with the Cane Master's self-defense walking cane. The third one was using the long side that's coming out of your pinky and twisting the wrist at the same time. This is very similar to the Irish shillelagh. You can also, in this position, get behind it and block. If he's coming at you, he's swinging, he's too fast, you can't get out of the way. Put your hand behind your other wrist, grab your wrist, and allow that hard piece of hickory to take whatever the strike is, even especially if he's got a blade and he's slashing, and you can get behind it here. And then from this position, don't just block, reach and grab, smash, pull it this way, grab it in the other hand, thrust through his face for self-defense. Number 4, I'm gonna have you turn it back in the traditional way, so the crook is facing behind you, and have you slide your hand down the front as you bend the knees and get your other hand up in the guard, come up into this position so that you can thrust and slash and come through with these horizontal strikes and down over the top of his head and take out the knees. Just like we're using a collie stick or a short sword or a baseball bat, any type of stick coming out of your hand. So from this position, you can also lift it and let it slide. And the same thing, your hands are up, you're giving a command. You're not fighting, you're defending. You're telling him, back up. You're not the aggressor. All the cameras out, people are videotaping you with their camera instead of trying to help you. What a sick world we live in sometimes. And instead of helping you, they want to be able to post it onto the social media later, right? And for their 2 seconds of fame. So you're on your own, but when it goes in front of the judge or it goes in front of the law enforcement, the police officer looks at it and says, oh, the person with the cane was obviously defending himself, herself. The other thug, the punk, the criminal with the knife, the 3 criminals attacking the older person who had the cane, they're at fault. That person's just, your hand was up. You told him, back up, get away from me, I'll defend myself. And then you have to strike with speed, power, and force. And you just use it simply like that. So the 4th technique, it's in your hand, crook facing back, traditional way, walking down the street, minding your business. The thug comes up, you can't get out of there, you can't get away fast enough. You simply slide your hand down the front, your hand comes up and you say, get away from me, you're too close, you can thrust, and then you have these basic strikes. Just make sure all the strikes come off your shoulder. And again, Tim Larkin's book, When Violence is the Answer, link in the description. He says, take a deep breath, ask yourself, what can you remove or destroy? His ability to see, his ability to breathe temporarily, permanently, his ability to be awake. Maybe you knock him out, turn off his operating system, hit him in this process of nerves in his neck, collapsing those nerves very quickly, forcefully, flushing the blood out of his brain. He falls to the ground like a sack of dog doo, poop, sack of crap, right? That he is for attacking somebody who he has no business bothering, somebody who he thinks is an easy target because they're using a walking cane for self-defense or using a walking cane. Now, that's a great point. If you use your walking cane for mobility in a way and you have a challenge in your body, disability, an injury, maybe you're a wounded warrior, you pick up your cane, you're gonna fall to the ground, use 2 canes, one to lean into and the other one to defend yourself. From this position, all these basic techniques work just the same, leaning into your cane. The only ones you can't do are 2-handed techniques. And you can lean into one and strike, and maybe you have to lean into the other one and strike with the other side. There's your handshake, smashing the top of his head. Now, 5th technique. I'm gonna do similar to what we talked about the other day when we were using our Irish shillelagh or the straight cane, and that is same starting motion, but this time as I come up, I'm gonna point the thumb at the threat, put the cane between me and him, and I'm gonna use it just like my M16 back when I was a kid in the Marine Corps, learning how to fight, attach bayonets. You ran out of bullets. Now you gotta fight with a big stick with a knife on the front. We don't have a knife on the front, but we're gonna use it like after the bayonet broke off, right? You're still fighting. Just so you're using like a pugil stick or just a stick. That's what it is. From here, you have this thrusting motion. It's hard for him to walk through, hitting through his throat, through his teeth, through his nose, through his solar plexus, through his privates, or between the belly button and the privates, that thin fascia of muscle. You stick that in there, knock his wind out, put that muscle into a spasm. That's what keeps his guts in. When that tears, that's when you get the hernia and your guts are sticking out. You can see it looks like a big knuckle. Speaking from experience. It wasn't me, it was my buddy. He had a big hernia and it looked like a big knuckle sticking out of his shirt. And I'm pretty sure it came from getting struck in that area during training. From here, bend the knee, hand up, point the thumb, get it into the other hand. Now you have two-handed strikes. So much more powerful than one-handed strike. This is the same thing that law enforcement or military use when you stand on line in the riot line and you have your riot stick. Oh yeah, Doug says, get it like this and take his ankles out. Amen, brother. All these techniques. So I'm showing you 5 simple techniques you can use, but there are so many more that are super effective. And some of them you might even invent and come up with. Just when you start to mess around with your walking cane for self-defense, you get out in the garage, the backyard, in the hallway, in the kitchen, at the dojo, and you just practice, and you get some skill, and you build your mobility back up, you get some of your strength back, and then you start practicing the techniques that I showed you or someone else showed you, and then after a while you're like, oh, well, I could also turn it around, and just like a hatchet, chopping down a tree, or taking out his ankle, going for his legs, going for that thigh. Hook that into the back of someone's calf and then pull and see what happens. All right, so number 5, sliding down the front. The other hand always has to come up within your head. If you're too slow and he swings at you, you can always put your helmet on. This is your helmet. Put your hand on the side of your head and absorb that strike. If your hand is here and you get hit in the side of the head, he can easily knock you out. Your hand's here, he hits you in the side of the head, it's going to be very difficult for you to get knocked out. So put your helmet on. You can also drive this elbow into his face. You can turn it and smash him in the jaw. You can bring it down and break his clavicle or knock him out. Broken Heart Wolf's here. Hey, good to see you, Broken Heart. So from here, bend the knees, get this hand up, point the thumb, get behind your fighting weapon, behind your basic cane master self-defense cane. And then thrust straight in, either up to the face, into the throat, into the solar plexus, into the fascia between the belly button and the privates, into the privates themselves. From this position, you can also bring that back hand forward, just like a straight punch to his jaw. That's gonna be like a rifle butt strike if you were to use that old M16, right? Bringing that through here, chopping down with the front of your self-defense walking cane into his jaw, into his clavicle, smashing the hand, stepping in and bashing him back, pushing that through his teeth, through his mouth, pushing him off of you, getting some distance, right? You can also pull here, push here, and then release, creating that tension and then letting it go and breaking the knee. Now, the comment the other day someone had about the Irish shillelagh, the other material probably would not break the knee. Pretty sure this one's gonna break the knee. This is the Cane Masters Hickory, and until you pick one up and train with them, you don't realize just how heavy they are. They're not too heavy that you can't use them, but they're heavy enough and the wood is dense enough that when that comes into the flesh, it's gonna compress the flesh and it's gonna snap the bone. And joints break easier. You break the bone easier at the joint than you do in the middle. So from here, tension, 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 wham, bring it through, strike, get it back into that hand. You're ready to continue defending yourself. You can also smash that into his face, and after you smash, reach in back there into all that muscle and those nerves and rip. Pull him down. Maybe you pull him down into your knee as it's coming up right into his face. They're all simple things you can do. 5 simple self-defense moves with your Cane Master self-defense walking cane. Again, I put a link in the description if you want to get your own or just to see what the costs are. This is their least expensive version. That's Cane Master's Dojo cane. I used to use the Carex canes that I get on Amazon, and they're like $9, $10. Now they're like 12 or 13. And I broke them like once every week or every 2 weeks. Yeah, as Doug said, when you have 2 hands on your cane, you get so much more. And turning through your shoulders and hips is what maximizes the power in the strike. And with 2 hands, it's easier because your hands are connected. It makes it easier to turn and generate all that massive power. But I was using these cheap canes, I break them, and I got this dojo training cane. Back then it was like 45 bucks. Now I think it's like 55 maybe, a little bit more. I don't know if you've noticed, but the price of everything's gone up in the last few years. What they call it, inflation. I don't know how it happened. No one seems to know. Anyway, this self-defense cane now is still less than 70 bucks. We'll say something like that. But it's never broken. And I've had it now for many years. And I would have gone through probably 20 or 30 of the cheap canes and spent 10 times as much. And that's a lesson. Always go for a little bit more quality if you can find it. This one's gonna be even more expensive. People ask me all the time, what's the name of the color? I don't know. It's dark brown. It's a beautiful cane though. It's hickory, dark brown, has all these cool features. One of the best features that I like on these canes is this part right here. That beveled edge. They call that the teardrop. If you look on their website, you can see, and on these older canes, they would put the teardrop all the way to the end. On the newer ones, it looks like they make the end a little bit thicker. It's probably because some of them broke, because when you take off some material, you do weaken it a little bit. But if you get it made in hickory, it's not gonna matter that much. And the benefit is that will compress the flesh faster and break the bone. This one will definitely break his knee for self-defense if I had to bring that through. And it's gonna move because it has less air resistance. It's like a stealth plane. It's gonna cut through the air so much faster than the big round cane. So that's a feature. If you're looking at them and you're wondering what would be the benefit of that, that's the benefit. It doesn't weaken it too much. It does all the same things the other canes do, but when you strike with it, it's a lot more effective for self-defense. So those are the 5 basic moves, self-defense cane. Yeah, Doug says his first cane was the same as this, the dojo training cane, thought it was the strongest. I agree, this was the strongest for forever, until I got this one. And I think that just because the difference is, I think if I got the dojo training cane in hickory, it'd be stronger, but this one, you can see it's got a little bit wider crook, not too much wider, but they're very similar. But this is my new favorite one. I just like the way it feels so much better. It's extremely sturdy and strong, but this one comes kind of unfinished, just oiled, and then the oil from your hand every time you train with it. You can see that's why it has this dark color. That's just because I've spun this thing, and I've trained with this thing, and I've practiced the thing. You can see all the knife marks that are on it, all the dents that are on it from hitting it against other canes, from hitting against other self-defense tools, from having someone come at me with a bat and practicing proper technique, how to defend against other weapons. So it's taken a beating and it just keeps going over and over, it doesn't break. So if you're considering Cane Masters canes, I think it's the gold standard for a reason. This also happens a lot. I use it so much that the bottoms get chopped off. Thanks, Doug, great for you. Thankful for you to be here. I buy these canes at Home Depot so you can get replacement, or the tips, get the replacement tip. You just slide it on, and they're like $3, something like that. I just didn't get a new one for this yet, but I will. All right, you guys have been awesome.